Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Nefertiti Gold and I'm an electronic R&B artist. Today's video is an update on the piano journey. Now, it's been a little bit since I've updated this series, but I promise I've been practicing. And shout out to DistroKid for sponsoring this series. DistroKid is by far the leading distributor when it comes to independent artists. They're always developing new tools that make our lives easier so that we can focus on making music. One of their latest tools is Mixia. With Mixia, DistroKid members can put those final finishing touches on their tracks and have them release ready. With Mixia, you can get an unlimited number of tracks mastered for just $99 a year. Now, of course, nothing is ever going to replace a real human being as an engineer, but if you are tight on time and tight on a budget, Mixia can be a great tool in your back pocket. And if you are not a DistroKid member yet, go ahead and use my link in the description below and get 7% off your first year. And as I was saying, it's been a while since I have updated you guys on the journey. I do believe the last place I left off at was definitely for Christmas, the holidays. It's been a minute. I definitely took somewhat of a long break, maybe a little bit longer than I should have, but I kind of feel like it was needed. I feel like I'm in a better position to kind of just sit and start refocusing on the goal of getting better at piano and eventually putting on that recital. So the piece I've been focusing on is the second movement to Clementi's Sonatina Opus 36, number 1. Now, it's been a while since I played the first movement, but I do know I have that fairly memorized. I feel like I would just have to kind of go back and get that polished up. Now, if you've been following the series, you know which piece I'm talking about, but if you need like a quick reminder of what it sounds like. So that is what the beginning portion of the first movement sounds like. I'm currently working on the second movement, and I've been really focusing on the third portion of the second movement. I feel like it's almost there. It's definitely almost there. I'm just kind of going through the hiccups of smoothing things out, remembering when to switch chords, not to get too lost in the moment of where I'm at, and remember to just kind of keep moving forward. And also, as always, that muscle memory. I will say that the first 2 sections are pretty good. They could be better. And I feel like it's because of how I'm practicing, right? I'm practicing section 1, section 2, starting section 3, and I'm in that weird phase where, okay, I've been kind of looking at it and working on it as if it's 3 small pieces, but it kind of sounds choppy. So the goal really here now is to not only know each section smoothly, but to play everything straight through as a whole complete piece without any weird breaks in the middle. So there are little moments in this piece where there's trills involved. And basically a trill is when you're alternating between 2 notes really, really fast. So kind of something like this, right? But in certain sections, in order for it to sound the way that it should, it's a little difficult for me. So for certain trills, I'm kind of skipping over for now and really just focusing on getting those main notes under my hands. All right, so I am going to play for you the second movement. I'm going to play it in its entirety as best as I can. Please keep in mind that third section, it's a little rocky. But stay with me, okay? I'm gonna try to do it in just one pass, and if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. I am expecting mistakes. messed that part up. I messed that part up. So it's. Oh no. Third section. Where am I? Oh my God. Rock with me. It's there. It's there. It's so close. It's there. I would say like this is there. This is progress. Even mistakes and all, it's just the ability to just like get through from the first note to the last note. And I think it's important to not necessarily reinforce mistakes, but know where the mistakes were. Obviously, I'm not really going to chop any of that off. I'm going to leave everything in, even though I don't want to. The editor in me wants to just edit all out. But that's just like the reality of like what it is to play, you know, learn something new. You know, there's going to be those parts where it's a little bit easier, you learn it. And then there's going to be those weird parts in the middle that are kind of like, whatever, they're just kind of iffy. And I feel like from my experience from learning this piece or just kind of pieces in general is that the last section is always the hardest to learn because of the way that we practice. The beginning part, I feel like smooth. And then you can hear where the transition happened when I hit this note. You can hear where like that separation of the sections were. And then of course, when it comes back to that main motif, that last section, you can hear the choppiness of it. The beginning is smooth because I'm always practicing from the beginning. I'm always starting at the beginning. And that's why the end of the piece, the middle of the piece, it's just choppy. The middle has gotten better, but the end definitely needs the most work. And it's really because of how I practice. I'm always starting at the beginning. I feel like there's just like a lot of approaches necessary in order to conquer a piece. It's not just like one way of practicing or one way of learning. You have to really incorporate different methods to get through any song, anything that you want to learn, because it can get so intricate, it can get so complicated. My game plan moving forward, of course, definitely still work through all of those kinks in this second movement. But the next step that I feel like is a good progression is going back to the first movement, polishing that up. And then once the second movement is kind of near its completion, it sounds good, it sounds smooth, I'm going to practice movement 1 and movement 2 together, because ideally, if I'm going to be doing a recital, I'm playing all 3 movements back to back. I also want to make sure that I remember the 3 pieces back to back. So that is where I am at currently in the journey. I promise you guys, I didn't quit. I didn't stop. I didn't forget about it. She was just taking some time off. So that is it for today's video. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.